Now, Sandra Beale is here. She has been practicing karate for 18 years and has just become the first woman to achieve Shihan, or master status, in her particular branch of karate. Now, this is a particularly impressive feat because Sandra had serious bouts of illness in her childhood, and she also teaches karate, specialising in classes for children with autism and Asperger's. Sandra, welcome to the programme. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
You better just start with what happened to you as a child, because you really were very seriously ill when you were 9 years old.
Yes, I was 9 years old. I discovered a lump under my armpit, and after some investigations realised that it was cancer. It was a fairly rare form called Ewing sarcoma, which is a bone cancer, and it was attached to 2 ribs. It was about golf ball size. I had it removed. They did surgery. I had 2 years intensive chemotherapy and 10 weeks radiotherapy as well.
And in fact, you were only discharged from that paediatric unit that treated you just a couple of years ago, weren't you?
Yeah, it was about 4 years ago, I think. I was still seeing the paediatricians. I decided that it was about time I saw some adult doctors, people that were actually older than me as well. One of the reasons that I continued to be seen there is because my original consultant was still there. But a few years ago he left and went to the Royal Edinburgh Children's Hospital, and unfortunately, ironically, 2 years ago he died of a brain tumour. So but it was time to leave.
Sure. I mean, it's interesting that somebody who clearly must have been regarded as a very fragile child got involved in something like karate. How did that happen?
Very slowly. When I was a child of about 4, my dad used to do karate, and other martial arts as well. My brother got into it when he was quite young as well, and I avoided it at all costs. I just stuck to my dancing. When I met my husband nearly 20 years ago now, he was a martial arts instructor and still is. He ran classes, and it started off with me going to the classes to do taking the register and maybe doing the odd warm-up, which obviously I do for the dancing teaching. And I got bored watching. I get bored pretty easily.
And so you wanted to do it?
Yeah, I practiced away from the class for a while just to make sure I could do it, and then I joined the class. I'm
a complete ignoramus here. What is karate? Is it a contact sport?
It is, but it doesn't have to be. It's basically a kicking, striking and punching sport, or art as we like to call it. It's probably 95% art, 5% sport, which is what people do competitively.
And it's controlled aggression. But
it's controlled, absolutely.
And you have to be fit to do it. There's no way you can't be.
You have to be fit to do it, but if you do have special needs of any sort, then it can be adapted. Some clubs aren't willing to do that. More traditional clubs maybe, but it absolutely can be adapted if the instructor wants to adapt it.
I know that you feel very strongly about teaching karate to children with special needs, and in fact you believe, don't you, that autistic children and people on the autistic spectrum respond very well to it. Why is that?
One of the reasons I got into teaching autistic children, I was teaching a child once who was, shall we say, quirky. He asked a lot of questions and was very rigid in what he was doing, and his mum actually came in to me one day and said that this is what he has. She gave me a card with Asperger syndrome on it and explaining what it was. I, being the person I am, went and bought a book on it. I tend to do that on anything that's going on. Read up about it, and the following week then went back with lots of knowledge and got interested in it really. One of the reasons that it's so good for children with Asperger syndrome and also other forms of autism is very repetitive. It's quite a routine and rigid thing. Classes normally run in the same kind of order. You do a warm-up, your techniques, and it's the same kind of order most weeks. And also it's great for things like coordination. So autistic children have a lot of coordination problems, and also dyslexic, dyspraxic, all that kind of thing as well. So it's suitable for them, and it's great for improving their social skills, which obviously they're not so great at.
So they're happy to take part in a group, but it's basically for a single person.
Yes, it's more of an individual thing, but I personally, in my own classes, even with children with autism, still do group work because I feel it's important for them to learn social skills. I just have to obviously make sure that the other children are aware as well. So I talk a lot about autism in my classes and other special needs as well, so that the other children are aware of different people and, you know, people they're going to encounter at school and things. So I think it's an education for the ones with autism and without.
Well, it's really great to meet you, and fantastic achievement, and it's brilliant that somebody who was really so poorly when they were young has done so well in something that certainly I regard as extremely physical. Well done, Sandra. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
That's Sandra Beale, who is a Shihan, that's right, isn't it?
It is.
In what particular branch of karate is it?
Tessioiru karate.
Right. Take your word for it. Okay. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Still